agenda is the invocation and pledge of allegiance to the U.S. and Texas flag. Commissioner Colley will lead those.
Will you bow with me? Father God, we do bow humbly before you. First, Lord, we acknowledge that this is the day that you have made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. Whatever our circumstances, we know that you know all about it. Now, Lord, as the pandemic has affected all of our lives, I ask that you continue to watch over us, be with us, protect us from hurt, harm, and danger. Allow us to do your will. Allow us to use your wisdom and to make decisions that will glorify you and decisions that are in the best interest of all of Brazos family. Father, we ask your blessings on the law enforcement, on the first responders, on all of the emergency staff and all of Brazos Valley. Be with us, protect us, stand by us is our prayer. In the mighty name of Jesus, we offer this prayer. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America,
to the
and to the republic which stands one nation under God,
Indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you.
The second item on the agenda is call for citizens' input and/or concerns. Hearing none, we'll consider and take action on agenda items 3 through 15. Number 3 is Proclamation 20-027, declaring April as Sexual Assault Awareness and Prevention Month.
Move approval. Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
aye,
Great. I will,
I'm serving currently as the president of the board and directors of SART.
I didn't realize that. I knew you'd been on the board, but,
It's one of my other jobs.
all right. Well, we'll try to do our social distancing, but I'll read the proclamation up here.
Wait, go ahead.
Whereas the effects of sexual assault go far beyond the physical, and victims often develop a number of psychological conditions such as post-traumatic stress disorder and depression, affecting families, friends, and Texas communities, spurring fear, anger, and a sense of vulnerability. And whereas few survivors of sexual violence seek help immediately after victimization due to the shame and fear of not being believed. To end sexual assault, we must alleviate these fears and begin by believing. And whereas, as members of a caring society, members of the community across the state of Texas must write to remove the stigma of rape, and the Brazos Valley community must continue to dialogue started by Sexual Assault Resource Center in their places of work, school, and homes. And whereas each year, the month of April provides the opportunity for Sexual Assault Resource Center and Rape Crisis Centers across the state to renew their commitments to serve their communities. Educational efforts also intensify, which ensures that Texans are aware of sexual assault services available in their area. Now, therefore, we as Commissioners Court of Brazos County do hereby designate April 2020 as Sexual Assault Awareness Prevention Month in Brazos County.
Judge, thank you very much. Commissioners, County Judge. Thank you so much for doing this for us at SARC. I've been the president of the board since the beginning of the year, and it's been a challenging year so far, particularly here lately. I want to assure you that SARC continues with their mission of outreach and support to the victims of sexual assault in the Brazos Valley. We're working from home, but we're also Zooming. We're doing counselings for our victims via Zooming. And it's really important that you've done what you do today. So much of our funding comes from grants for SARC. Sexual assault victims are not a popular cause. Dogs, kids are. These unfortunate folks that are victims are not, and it's really important to have your support. So again, thank you very much for doing that today.
Thank you.
Thank you for the
Thank you,
important
Chief.
work you do.
Yeah. Did we take a vote on that?
Yes, we did.
Okay. The fourth item on the agenda is order 20-008, canceling the split payment of property taxes in Brazos County.
Move approval.
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded. So I want to kind of briefly run through it, and then after I briefly run through it, then Christy can correct anything that I do that's maybe wrong. We had this. We had a public hearing 2 or 3 months back and discussed about whether we should continue or not the split payment. The problem that that Christy recognized that we're going to potentially run into is she is required to send out notices for split pay and it's at 50%. The tax, whatever that tax is going to be, you have to send out a notice saying, here's what you owe, 50% exactly, no leeway. My understanding that there's no leeway about it can't be a little more or a little less, it's got to be 50%. That's what state law says. And so you're required to send those out, and I think you send them out in October to make people aware, because the payment is due by November 30, or it's due on November 30 or before. The problem that we're going to run into potentially is that now the state law requires, the new state law requires that with the 3.5% cap, that if any taxing entity goes over 3.5%, there is a mandated election. So if for instance, one of the entities decided that they needed to go over 3.5% and they were willing to go out to the citizens and ask for this increase above 3.5%, there would be no choice but to have an election. That election is held the first Tuesday in November. If it were to fail, any work that you did, sending out notice and all, would be incorrect, because you would have sent them out based on whatever it was they were asking for, and then if it fails, then it has to go back. So it would create a huge workload on the tax office, and the people who had planned on doing this half pay would no longer be able to do it, because you couldn't get the correct figures out by November 30, the adjusted ones, you couldn't even get them out. So then they would be required to pay it by January 31st, I believe, is when full pay is due. Split pay is a convenience. It's something that Brazos County has done for a good many years. Most counties don't do it, but Brazos County has done it. I don't think there are a lot of people or financial institutions that do it. There are still some that do. So it won't impact a lot of people, and split pay doesn't mean that you don't have to pay. You're going to have to pay the full amount by, I think it's July 1st, maybe. It's the second pay. You have to pay the first pay by November 30, and the second pay, I believe, is by July 1st, I think, if we were still doing the split pay. So you still have to pay the full amount. This doesn't change that. It would just require that everybody has to pay their taxes by January the 31st. And so because of all the complications and the potential problems that it might cause the taxpayer who thinks they're going to do a split pay, and then if the the scenario that I've kind of described happens, it wouldn't even be available, and they may have budgeted planning on doing the split pay, and then it impacts them, and, you know, so to me, it looked like the best thing to do was to eliminate the split pay, which most counties don't do anyway. This doesn't impact the over 65 or disabled quarterly pay. That still would be in place. If you're doing that, you're still able to do it, and will be, because I think the first pay is not due until in January. So it wouldn't affect any of this. So that would still be in place. It would only be the split pay. And, you know, to me, it looks like that's probably the safest way for everybody, including all the citizens who might have planned to do it that way and have been doing it. But I felt like they needed to know, if we weren't going to do it, they need to know now so they can be budgeting and be prepared by January the 31st of next year to be able to pay their full pay rather than splitting payment up. I'll open it up for discussion if.
I just want to make sure I understood for the right, so you said it does not affect those over 65 that.
If you're doing a quarterly pay, it doesn't impact that. That will continue on just like it has.
Okay.
Disabled or quarterly pay, disabled or over 65 quarterly pay, that can still continue on. That this action would not impact that.
Yes, Judge, and you're correct. Your presentation is accurate. I did want to comment on the fact that for anyone, if the court moves forward with this, anyone that is in a split payment right now for their 2019 tax year, this does not impact that at all. They still have through June 30th to make that second payment without any penalty or interest. So this wouldn't impact what's in place right now. What you're considering is obviously for the 2020 tax year.
Just so that they'll be prepared next year to pay the full pay by January 31st.
Yes, sir. Giving people time to adjust their
Right.
budgets is the concern.
Okay.
About what kind of percentage uses the split pay?
Right now, of the full tax roll, Brazos County tax roll, it's about 10% of the accounts are in a split payment. And that has dropped over the years pretty consistently since I've been here in Brazos County.
Thank you.
And this would apply to, you collect taxes for pretty much everybody. So it impacts everybody, because whatever Brazos County does, it impacts everybody else. All the other governmental entities, both cities, the emergency services districts, the school districts.
Yes, sir.
These rules would apply to everybody's.
The way the statute's written, if it is a consolidated collection office, which we are, if the county offers it, everybody has to offer it. And if the county doesn't offer it, nobody gets to offer it.
Okay.
So.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Christie.
And Judge, one thing
Okay.
that we might want to point out too is, if I understand this correctly, it will not only impact those who are paying their taxes, but also it will affect the distribution of those revenues to the entities that we are technically collecting taxes for.
Yes, we made all of the governmental agencies aware that this was an action we were going to consider. So.
Yes, sir. Well, a unintended consequence of legislature. I'm sorry to hear that we can no longer offer this convenience to our citizens.
Yes, I agree. All right. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? None motion carries. Number 5 is approval of the following job description.
Move approval A.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve A. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? None motion carries. Number 6 is approval to issue a Brazos County Diners Club credit card for Constable Precinct 2 to Donald Lampo in the limit of $1,000 for use for travel, training, and conference fees.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? None motion carries. Number 7 is extension of declaration of local disaster for public health emergency.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? None motion carries. Number 8 is approval of a memorandum of understanding between TEACS, Blinn College, and Brazos County Sheriff's Office to provide training for ex-offenders seeking re-entry into the Brazos Valley
Move
workforce.
approval.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? It carries, and I guess, are y'all still able to carry that program in spite of our COVID? You kind of...
No, sir, we had a class that was supposed to start this month, it's been postponed.
Okay. I kind of figured that might be, but we'll have it in place as soon as we can get past this, and we will one day. You can keep rolling on.
We'll be ready.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We did take a vote on that, didn't we?
Yeah, we're up to 8.
Number 9 is amendment of contract 19-120R for mowing of county right-of-ways with Wellman Enterprises to extend the contract for 30 days.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? None motion carries. Number 10 is approval of renewal for contract 20-111 TLO for Sheriff's Office.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? None motion carries. Number 11, expenditure journal entries FY 19/20, 030103 through 030103.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? None motion carries. Number 12 is Commissioners Court minutes for the following dates.
Move approval A through I.
Move, second.
Motion made, seconded to approve A through I. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? None motion carries. Number 13 is budget amendments. Budget amendments FY 19/20, 27.1 through 27.5.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? None motion carries. Number 14 is personnel change status.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? None motion carries. Number 15 is payment of claims. Claims to be paid by Brazos County, claim number 8024662 through claim number 8024780.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? None motion carries. Number 16 is juvenile director's report on detention population. Lynn.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. We are happy to report that we have 16 juveniles in detention. We have 12 boys and 4 girls. We're continuing to keep those numbers low. All of our juveniles are healthy, and we're continuing to follow protocols to keep those juveniles safe and our staff safe, and trying to keep as many people from entering the detention center as possible. Our counselors that we do have coming to see the kids, we are allowing them to come in, but they see them through the visitation glass. And we just put that into place, because I think the more people that come in, we're exposing the juveniles that are there and the staff that are there. So right now, everybody's doing okay. I want to say also, I want to thank you, Judge, and everyone that's working on these emergency committees that we have, and our medical staff and our paramedics, police, everyone that's out there each day. I want to say that I'm very happy to live in Brazos County, because this is a great county and everybody's working so hard to keep everything together and alleviate this pandemic. Thank you so much. Do you have
Linda,
questions?
Do you have any on electronic monitors?
Oh, yes, we do. I'm sorry. We have 17 on electronic monitor.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for the
Lynn.
job you're doing.
Yeah, Thank you. Number 17, Sheriff's Report on Inmate Population. Sheriff.
Judge, Commissioners, good morning. 484 is our population, 410 males, 74 females. We have 36 with electronic monitors and 12 are pending. We continue to do what we can to keep it out, COVID out of our jail, and we do have some inmates that are in isolation and out of an abundance of caution that we're making sure that we don't mix our populations with somebody that might be at risk. So that's working well for us. Just this morning, I don't know if you've checked your emails, but the Texas Commission on Jail Standards sent a notice. They have approved our jail commission addition. The plans with the adjustments that we were asked to make have been approved, so we can move that forward.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. Number 18 is announcement of interest items and possible future agenda topics. Hearing none. Number 19 is call for citizens' input and/or concerns.
A question, Judge, and that is, do we need to have a quorum present in court for us to have a Commissioners Court meeting, or can all of us participate by phone?
We're in unusual times.
Yes, that's why I'm asking the question. And we do have a quorum present today, but
And I mean, here's my thought. I'm not
Ed?
even sure. Maybe.
Ed?
Good morning, Commissioners. Ed Wolf from the County Attorney's Office. As the judge said, we're in unusual times, and Governor Abbott has relaxed the rules on allowing a quorum to appear by telephone conference or even video conference. So I think as we move forward, I think we'll be encouraging our commissioners that perhaps it may be best to have that quorum appear by telephone and to minimize any risk to our leaders.
thank you.
Thank you.
And
Folks
thank
may
you
get
for the
used-
work that you're doing during these unusual times too, Ed. It's really appreciated.
People may get used to this. I don't know.
Well, some people.
I'm sure Sammy and
For some, there's more work than normal.
I'm sure Sammy and Steve are in suit and
Yeah.
ties.
Yeah. Well, I'm
Exactly.
glad that y'all are participating by phone.
Yeah.
I think
Thank
we ought
you.
to
Glad to
try,
be able to.
Yeah.
I think we ought to try Zoom so we can make sure they're dressed
Yeah. Well, from the
in
waist up
suits and
anyway.
ties.
Yeah, maybe do a Zoom, huh?
Yeah, I think you know.
All right. If there's no other comments, we'll adjourn. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, my God.
Take care, Steve.